During the night of the 4th, Dharamveer's platoon, while on patrol, detected noises across the border that suggested a large number of armored vehicles approaching. These were soon confirmed by reports from the Army's Air Observation Post aircraft flown by Major Atma Singh in the area of a 20-kilometer long, 12-meter armored column on the track leading to post advancing in the general direction of Longewala post, directing Dharamveer Bakri's patrol to trail the advancing armored column. Chandpuri contacted battalion headquarters requesting urgent reinforcements and armor and artillery support. Battalion headquarters gave him the choice of staying put and containing the attack as much as possible or carrying out a tactful retreat to Ramgarh, as reinforcements would not be available at that night. Despite his command having all the transportation to retreat back on time, he chose to stay and fight back the advancing enemy. The Pakistan forces began their attack at 12:30 am. As the offensive approached the lone post, Pakistani artillery opened up across the border with medium artillery, killing 5 of the 10 camels from the BSF detachment. As the column of 45 tanks neared the post, Indian defences, lacking the time to lay a prepared minefield, laid a hasty anti-tank minefield as the enemy advanced, one infantryman being killed in the process. The Indian infantry held their fire until the leading Pakistani tanks had approached to within 15 to 30 meters, that is 49 to 98 feet, before firing their PITs. They accounted for the first 2 tanks on the tracks with their Jonga mounted 106 mm M40 recoilless rifles, with one of its crew being killed during the engagement. This weapon proved quite effective because it was able to engage the thinner top armor of the Pakistani tanks from its elevated position, firing at often stationary, bogged down vehicles. In all, the post defenders claimed 12 tanks destroyed or damaged. The initial Pakistani attack stalled almost immediately. When the infantry finally discovered the barbed wire, which had not been spotted in the night, and interpreted it as signifying a minefield, firing for the Indian RCL crews are made easier by the flames of fire when the spare fuel tanks on the Pakistani tanks, intended to supplement their internal capacity for the advance to Jaisalmer, exploded, providing ample light for the Indians located on the higher ground and create a dense, acrid smoke screen at ground level for the Pakistani infantry, adding to the confusion. Two hours were lost as the Pakistani sappers were brought up only to discover there was no minefield. However, at this time, Pakistani infantry were required to make another attack from a different direction, but in the dawn light. The Pakistani advance then attempted to surround the post 2 hours later by vehicles getting off the road, but many vehicles, particularly armored personnel carriers and tanks, in trying to soften up the Indian defenders before attacking, became bogged down in the soft sand of the area surrounding the. Throughout the engagement, Chandpuri continued to direct the supporting artillery fire. Although massively outnumbered, the Indian defenders and having surrounded them, the Pakistani troops were unable to advance over open terrain on a full moon night under small arms and mortar fire from the outpost. This encouraged the Indians not to give up their strong defensive position, frustrating the Pakistani commanders. As dawn arrived, the Pakistani forces had still not taken the post and were now faced with doing so in full daylight. In the morning, the Indian Air Force was finally able to direct the new assembled 122 Squadron under the command of W.C. Donald Melvin Quest, comprising HAL HF-24 Maruts and Hawker Hunter aircraft to assist the post. They were not outfitted with night vision equipment, so had to wait until dawn. With daylight, however, the IAF was able to operate effectively, with the strike aircraft being guided to targets by the Airborne Forward Air Controller FAC Singh in a HAL Krishak observation aircraft. The Indian aircraft attacked the Pakistani ground troops with 16 Matra T-10 rockets and 30 Aden cannons on each aircraft. Without support from the Pakistani Air Force, which was busy somewhere else, the tanks and other armored vehicles were easy targets for the IAF hunters. The range of the 12.7 mm artillery heavy machine guns mounted on the tanks were limited and therefore ineffective against the Indian jets. The Indian air attacks were made easier by the barren terrain. Many IAF officers later described the attack as a turkey shoot, signifying the lopsidedness. By noon the next day, the assault has ended completely, having cost Pakistan 36 tanks, 22 of which were destroyed by aircraft fire, 12 by ground anti-tank fire, and 2 captured after being abandoned, with a total of around 100 vehicles destroyed or damaged in the desert around the post. The Pakistani forces were forced to withdraw when the Indian tanks from the division arrived. The Pakistani forces were forced to withdraw when Indian tanks from the division's cavalry regiment, the 20th Lancers commanded by Colonel Bawa Gurubachan Singh, along with the 17th Battalion Rajputana Rifles, launched their counter-offensive to end the 6-hour engagement. Longewala had proved to be one of the defining moments of the war. Aftermath of the war. Since the Indians were on the defensive, they managed to inflict heavy losses on the Pakistanis: 200 soldiers killed, 36 tanks destroyed or abandoned, and 500 additional vehicles lost. The Pakistani Judicial Commission, set up at the end of the war, recommended the commander of 18th Division, Major General Mustafa, to be tried for negligence. Notwithstanding the Indian victory, there were intelligence and strategic failures on both sides. India's intelligence service failed to provide warning of such a large armored force in the western sector. Moreover, the defending post was not heavily armored. Finally, they did not push home their advantage and destroy the fleeing Pakistani tanks while the IAF had them on the run. They did, however, destroy or capture some 36 tanks, one of the most disappropriate tank losses for one side in a single battle after World War II. The Pakistani troops, meanwhile, had underestimated the post defense capability due to the difficulty of approach over sands, conducting the attack at night and in full moonlight against stiff resistance from a well-prepared defensive position located on a dominant height. Attacking with a virtually no air cover, they took too long to close for an assault on a position and failed to anticipate the availability of Indian close air support. Given that Pakistan's Sherman tanks and T-59 and Type 59 Chinese tanks were slow on the sandy Thar desert, some military analysts have opted that the attack may have been poorly planned and executed given the terrain. Some Pakistani tanks suffered engine failure due to overheating in trying to extricate themselves and were abandoned. The open desert battleground provided little to no cover for the tanks and infantry from air attacks. The plan to capture Longewala may have been good in conception but failed due to lack of air cover. As a result, two tank regiments failed to take Longewala. From his part, Major Kuldeep Singh Chandpuri, MVC. For his part, the Indian Company Commander Chandpuri was decorated with India's second highest gallantry award, the Mahavir Chakra. Several other awards were earned by members of the defending company and the battalion commander. On the other hand, Pakistani division commander was dismissed from the service. The Battle of Longewala was depicted in a 1997 Hindi film Border, which was directed by J.P. Datta and starred Sunny Deol as Major Kuldeep Singh, Jackie Shroff as Wing Commander M.S. Bawa, Sunil Sethi as Assistant Commandant Bhairav Singh, BSF, and Akshay Khanna as Dharamveer. The main criticism of the movie was that it showed Indian forces being in a terrible position before any sort of help came from the IAF. Longewala War Memorial is the place of the Battle of Longewala in 1971 between Pakistan and India. The museum has been built right on the place of the battle and it is maintained by the Indian Army. The Longewala War Memorial is located at a distance of 30 kilometers from Ramgarh, Rajasthan. It is the best place to visit for locals and tourists. On the night of 4th or 5th December 1971, Pakistan forces consisting of 4,000 soldiers, Sherman tanks, T-59 and a medium artillery battery attacked the Longewala border post held by 23 Punjab.